Welcome into the Red Sox Roundtable from CLNS Media, clnsradio.com, soon to be clnsmedia.com, I assume. June 29th, it is a Thursday night. We got myself, Nick Qualia, hosting, along with Jared Scally and Ethan Winter. What's up, boys?
How's it going?
What's up, Quags?
So we got a couple of things to talk about tonight. It's been very painful. It's always painful to be a Red Sox fan. It's painful to be a baseball fan because the season is so long, so much can go wrong, and there's so much that you can always be angry about, especially with this Red Sox team. It seems like there's always an issue. Even when you think that it's going to be sunshine and daisies, there always seems to be an issue. A couple weeks ago, last week, it was Pablo Sandoval. This week, it is Hanley Ramirez. Hanley Ramirez has missed the past couple of games with a shoulder issue. Sometimes it's a knee issue. It depends on who you ask. Which, guys, can you back me up with this? Whenever Hanley goes on the DL, half the time through the week or not on the DL when he's hurt, sometimes you'll hear that it's his shoulder. Other times you hear it's his knee. I feel like you never actually know. Or it's both. But nobody ever says it's both. It's one or the other.
Oh, definitely. I think I first heard that it was his knee, and now I guess it's his shoulder. Like, make up your mind, John.
Thank you.
I haven't really trusted the Red Sox media, medical staff since they let go of Joe Gill. I mean, who was one of the best medical team physicians in Major League Baseball, but it's just been so inconsistent, misdiagnosis all over the place. You can never get a straight answer from them.
Well, yeah, you can be right to not trust anything the Red Sox say. Media members, medical staff, whatever. The beat writer, I don't trust half the beat writers because they get information from the Red Sox, and the Red Sox lie. Look, Hanley's in the lineup tonight. I mean, I have watched half the game, but that being said, whenever Hanley doesn't want to play, he has a mystery injury. And, like, Evan Drellick, and I like Evan Drellick, he's a good guy, but, like, he wrote something or he tweeted something about how it could be worse. Apparently it's worse than what it was last year, potentially. Like, I don't believe that because he's been playing all year. If you can't play, if you're hurt more than last year, just go on the DL, get over it, and we'll figure it out. Because right now, you're not even hitting enough to make me want you to be in the lineup.
And that's the big issue that we have to talk about with Hanley. Hanley's supposed to be the designated hitter, and let's be honest with each other. Hanley was signed with the Red Sox inevitably to take over David Ortiz's position. Hanley wasn't brought in here to play left field, and that's how you can tell that he was brought in to eventually take over for David Ortiz. We knew he was on the tail end of his career. He's almost 40 years old. You bring in Hanley Ramirez, where virtually there's nowhere to put him. So you stick him out in left field. That's an absolute adventure, and honestly, one of the low-key greatest moments for the Red Sox over the past couple of years, only because he was such an adventure out there. So now, Hanley last year, second half of the season, was incredible. This season so far, in April, he hit 253. Okay, it's only April. May, he hit 260. Okay. June, he's hitting 208. And the other day, when the Red Sox, when there was a reporter who said to Hanley Ramirez, "Are you aware that you're hitting 143 off of lefties?" Who career Hanley Ramirez is hitting about 300 off of lefties. Lefties is supposed to be his niche. He's hitting 143 off of lefties. He was shocked. And him being shocked, you know what that says to me? He doesn't give a rat's ass about the game. If he doesn't know how he's hitting, if he doesn't know how he's doing, your prime position is to be the designated hitter. You don't even have to worry about first base. You don't even have to worry about the field. You have to focus on hitting. And you don't know what you're hitting? You don't know how you're doing against left-handed hitters? That's where his issue was this year. He doesn't care. He doesn't care at all.
I think he knew.
He's so aloof. I mean, that's his personality. He's aloof. And I think one of the reasons why he actually played well last year was because he was back in the infield, and it forced him
and he
to
was
be
focused.
Not to mention he had David Ortiz. But now David Ortiz is not in the clubhouse anymore. And I think it's like you said, Nick. Hanley just wanted to be David Ortiz's replacement, and he doesn't want to play in the field. And as a result, he's not focused. And, I mean, I think he cares. He's just not focused and is not self-aware.
Well, this is what he's been his entire career. It's been, I'm going to be lazy, I'm going to try, I'm going to be a meathead. Ortiz kept him focused. Between that, and I said it all last year, too, between here and on RSB, it's the idea that Hanley playing first base kept him in the game was real. You know, he wasn't just hitting every other inning or whatever it was. He was out there every inning playing baseball, had to be focused, and he was enjoying it. You saw it when he played first base last year. He was amped every time someone turned a double play. When Vasquez threw behind the run, he got jacked up. Like, he doesn't do that this year. And now he's back to being Hanley before he even came to the Red Sox. He's now doing it on the Red Sox. And it's really annoying.
The game a couple of weeks ago, or was it last week, maybe 2 weeks ago at this point? I believe it was last week. I forget who they were playing. But Hanley came up in a pretty big situation. And he was joking around with the catcher behind the dish. He came up with 2 outs. He could potentially be either the tying run or the go-ahead run in the last inning.
Yep.
And he's screwing around at the plate. It just shows you right there how much he cares about this team. The fact that our DH is hitting, the Boston Red Sox DH is hitting 208, and every time that he hits poorly, you always hear an excuse, because that's what the Red Sox do, which is infuriating. Anytime there's something going wrong, there's an issue.
Well, it's because it's their investment. They're protecting the investment. That's what they've always done. You know, every crappy signing they've made, everything that, you know, ownership protects it, the management protects it, and John Farrell protects it. You know, it's a cancer in the clubhouse is the way they treat players like this.
Speaking of John Farrell, just want to throw this in real quick before we take the next step over to Rick Porcello. That stare down that he had with Rich Keefe
Perfect.
On WEEI, that was electric. That made me, honestly, I'm not going to lie to you, I haven't been as big of a Rich Keefe guy as a lot of people are. I think he's good. I haven't found him to be great. That took the next step.
I love Keefe.
That took the next step. I think he's a funny dude, but that stare down and the way he was able to go toe-to-toe with John Farrell was out of this world.
Think he got scolded? Do you think he got scolded?
His argument with the home plate umpire the other night for that ridiculous spot call, or that stare down with Rich Keefe?
Oh, stare down.
What's the question?
Stare down. Stare down.
Better?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The stare down only because, I'm not even kidding you, it legitimately gave me chills.
It was great.
And I was at that Red Sox game where John Farrell got thrown out. And I love Red Sox fans because John Farrell, I feel like a lot of fans don't do this. John Farrell's out there screaming at the umpire. And guys, let me tell you from being there live, Fenway was losing their minds when Farrell was out there screaming. You would have thought somebody hit a home run. Everybody was like, yeah! It was incredible. Next topic we're going to talk about tonight is going to be Rick Porcello, 2016 Cy Young Award winner. 2017, totally different story.
Pretty Ricky.
His ERA, pretty Ricky. His ERA currently is sitting at 5.06. It went back up after last night after he gave up 4 runs. And batters are hitting .312 off of him right now. He's giving up a lot of hits. He's looking a lot like the 2015 Rick Porcello. He's not striking people out. The sinker isn't biting. And when his sinker doesn't bite, then that's when he gets shelled. That's when he really gets hit. If he isn't able to get that sinker to drop at the last second and induce a ground ball, double play ground ball, or even cause batters to swing and miss, that's when he gets destroyed, and that's when we're going to see 2015 Rick Porcello back in Red Sox uniform.
Well, I think a lot of the misconception, too, is like his stuff last year was magical. He wasn't the perfect pitcher last year. He got run support last year. I was watching the game tonight, and they made up a good point because they went back and Eckersley was talking about him, and Eck was like, the other night he had a 2-0 deficit. Last year he probably was winning that game 5-2 and probably gets a win. But this year he's losing 2-0, getting down behind like he typically does, and the team doesn't bail him out, and he looked good the rest of the night. But it was just that one case.
And also it's been the 1 or 2 innings that really does him in. It's usually the first inning and the last inning that he pitches. And in between, he pitches like 2016 Rick Porcello. And it's really he has the 2 bad innings, and that's what has led to an inflated ERA, I think.
And I totally agree with that, Ethan. And the reason I agree with that is because it's the last inning every time. The last inning kills him. And you can tell by his innings pitched, which is it throws you off, because you would think by the amount of innings pitched by Porcello this season and his longevity going deep into games, you would think that he's been doing well. He's only had 1 game this season, and I mentioned this yesterday in my pregame notes. He's only had 1 game this season where he has not lasted 6 innings at least, 6 full innings. And that was all the way back in April. That was the 3rd game of the season. Another game I was at where he got destroyed. His main issue right now is the ball isn't biting. And like I was saying, if that sinker does not drop, he's screwed. He's a flat. He doesn't throw hard enough to blow it by people. If his breaking ball doesn't work, or if his sinker doesn't work, you might as well pull him out and get the bullpen ready, because he is not going to last in that game.
But isn't this more of what he is, though? Like, I don't expect him to be a Cy Young win. This is what he is. I think last year, like I said, combination of run support and, pitching out of his mind, he was that good. This is what he is. Like, if he gets better at all, that's what it takes for them to win. They're not going to be that successful. They're not going to extend a gap between them and the Yankees if he doesn't turn it around, but even just a little bit. But this is what he is. He's not as bad as he was, 2 years ago when he first got here. He's not the Cy Young that he was last year. But this is what he is. What he was in Detroit. He's a middle road guy who is either on, or like you said, if it's not biting, he's screwed.
And also his location has not been as it was last year, and I think that has to do with his sinker not biting the way that it has been, like you said, Nick, and that has killed him.
But no, you're totally right. And his location is key, because with a guy, again, who doesn't throw that hard, he throws low 90s. For a guy who can't just blow it by somebody, you really have to paint the corners. And in 2016, he was doing that. He was really hitting the outside, but he could go inside, he could go outside. This season, he's leaving a ton over the plate. And that worked a little last year, again, when the sinker would bite. Then you can do that, because the ball's going to end up dropping out of the zone. You're going to have people swinging over. You're going to have the batter swinging over it. But now that the ball's not dropping, you can't just leave it over in the middle of the plate. And it seems like he just keeps on leaving it over the middle of the plate. And people are taking him out of the ballpark. People are racking up the hits. And his hit numbers per game
obscene
are very large. 9, 9, 11, 11, 8, 8, 10, 10, 8. That was a string of games from May 12th up until last night. Last night he gave up 6 hits. He didn't give up less than 8 hits from May 12th up until last night.
He is far in between the worst hits numbers in the league. Like, I don't even know what the gap is between him and second, but it's pretty big.
I mean, his BABIP numbers are insane. Like, opponents are hitting, like you said, 362, but his BABIP is even higher than that at like 400. And the balls are being hit hard, which shows me that it's not a case of bad luck. It's mislocation.
Any final 10-second thought, gentlemen?
Drew Pomeranz is terrible.
Hey, 7-5, 3.81 ERA. And also, if the ball hits the ladder, isn't that a triple at Fenway?
I don't know. I've always wondered that, but that's a question for a different day. Thank you for listening to the Red Sox Roundtable. Make sure you check in tonight to CLNS for your post-game recap of tonight's game. CLNS, thank you guys for coming on. Have a good night.